Do I think that this is a nice update when it comes to Polkadot? I would like to think so. Now, nothing I say is financial advice. However, Polkadot developers recently announced how smart contracts are now live on Polkadot Hub via the Revive dual virtual machine stack. Now, the thing is, when people take a look at something like this, they like to tell me, why does this even matter? Well, it's because this could have future implications, I think, for developers, and I just think the future adoption when it comes to Polkadot overall. Granted, personally, for someone like me, this won't really matter that much because it's not like I'm trying to really do much when it comes to Polkadot in terms of building or anything. But I think in terms of the longevity of the project, in terms of the actual adoption, I think it would matter a lot. And in theory, if let's say during a hypothetical altcoin season, if there's attention, or should I say good attention again, when it comes to Polkadot, and let's say a lot of developers start entering in, I think this could matter in some cases, and I think this could have future implications when it comes to that later on. It may not showcase it as of right now, but again, I think it could matter later on. So I think that Polkadot is doing a lot of preemptive sort of things to hypothetically prepare for a moment in time in which, if let's say there is even a hypothetical altcoin season, or even just for the long-term future adoption. For instance, Polkadot 2.0, we take a look at aspects of elastic scaling. Also on top of that, we take a look at the recent redesign when it comes to Polkadot. It's purely aesthetic, though, in my perspective, because they changed kind of the color scheme when it comes to Polkadot, and they try to make the design, I think, overall a little bit more minimalistic, which, again, people may think it's kind of trivial, right? They may think that Polkadot's not really doing much, but again, if we take a look at projects that have a more serious sort of vibe, like a Ripple, for instance, like a Hedera, like a Stellar, that right there sometimes could promote, right, future adoption, where a lot more enterprises take it more seriously. So I do like seeing this. It's not like Polkadot really had an issue with that anyways. I mean, Dot, before the redesign, already had over 1 million holders, but still, it's pretty cool nonetheless. And I think Polkadot 2.0, again, is just a really big step moving forward when it comes to Polkadot. Granted, the timing of it didn't necessarily align well with the altcoin space in terms of the sentiment. But you know what? If a project that I'm a really big fan of anyways is doing all of that, and actually not too long ago Dot had a new all-time low, right? Which is kind of surprising, but again, it's slightly above $1 not too long ago. It's still actually slightly above $1 as of right now, but I'm saying it's hovering around all-time low ranges, and I'm seeing this in 2026. So basically, Dot as of right now is around 38 and a half times lower than $50. And the thing is, if we take a look at it historically, Dot at one point was actually around $50 in 2021. But besides that point, Dot not too long ago, we're talking about just days ago at this point, reached a new all-time low. You know, to me, I just find it a little bit ridiculous in a good way, because Dot is actually around all-time low ranges. Well, people may be thinking, okay, why do I find it to be a good thing, personally for me? Well, it's because I feel like the project is the best it's ever been fundamentally. I really do believe that because of Polkadot 2.0, but besides that, I feel like it's the best, but then, so what? I'm able to dollar cost average into a project that I'm a fan of, that I feel like is arguably doing the best it's ever been doing fundamentally, yet it's actually hovering around all-time low ranges. Like, again, if I want to exit, though, this would be not such a good thing, because imagine exiting at all-time low levels. Yeah, that's just not something I want to do, personally. But again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I can't speak on anyone's behalf, but in my opinion, if I'm able to dollar cost average at these levels, I'm not going to necessarily complain, because I think Polkadot is not necessarily a project anyways that becomes obsolete as time goes on, because a lot of other projects out there, they are focused on trends, on, you know, short-term attention. So if that trend is no longer there, the project gets left behind. But when it comes to Polkadot, I feel like the focus is more evergreen, right? I feel like it's more built for longevity, in a sense where Polkadot's main objective, in my perspective, is to connect blockchains together. It's focused on interoperability. So it's not necessarily concerned if, let's say, there's more blockchains appearing, because I think that if there's more of what it's trying to help, why is that a bad thing? Is every single project out there going to have something to do with Polkadot? Probably not, right? But still, at least Polkadot's there. And if we take a look at Polkadot, it's a layer 0, right? In terms of a layer 0, I think arguably Polkadot seems to be one of the most recognizable ones. And especially when it comes to a project that is focused on interoperability, I think Polkadot is hands down the most popular within that niche. I mean, if I take a look at Polkadot, like in terms of a layer 0, we take a look at, in the case of, again, of course, Polkadot, but also we take a look at Cosmos. But Cosmos is just way less popular than Polkadot. Now, granted, though, we've seen some Cosmos-based blockchains, like, for instance, Chronos, and also we take a look at the BNB chain, for instance, right? So really, in the grand scheme of things, that's been pretty impressive, but Polkadot just still has that popularity. If I take a look at it, a project like Axelar, by the way, I'm also a fan of Axelar, but Axelar is like kind of this way smaller version, a lot of people like to arguably say, of Polkadot. So that's never going to overtake it, I think, in the short to medium term, or maybe if ever, right? So when it comes to Polkadot, who's really competing against it, in my opinion? I don't really see that many that are that popular in terms of the quantity. There are quality ones, like for instance, I take a look at Cosmos, but Polkadot doesn't have like 100 of Cosmos archetypes, right? There's not like 100 versions of Cosmos, more or less, that are really kind of trying to compete with Polkadot. I just don't really see that as of right now. Polkadot kind of still has that stronghold in that interoperability space. So really, when it comes to Polkadot, I just don't want to give up like that, especially if it's still arguably the most popular within its niche of interoperability, or should I say projects that are focused on that. Furthermore, if I take a look at it, DOT still has over 1 million holders. That's kind of ridiculous, right? In a good way, because can you imagine a project just recently reached a new all-time low and it still has over 1 million holders? So yeah, I just don't want to leave like that personally. And if I take a look at it, Polkadot, its canary network called Kusama, that's still doing pretty okay. I mean, sure, of course, because Polkadot has, reduced by popularity by quite a bit naturally. We have seen Kusama kind of also reduce as well, but really, Kusama's still there, right? Polkadot's still there, and I just don't want to be the one that leaves, personally, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. When it comes to Polkadot, I'm still staying patient, I'm still holding, I'm still waiting, I'm still dollar cost averaging once a month because that's all I can do. And that's all I will do, even though I am not telling anyone to do anything. However, if you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you like the video. And also, if you want to stay tuned for more updates when it comes to Polkadot. And I talk about Polkadot quite frequently. So again, feel free to subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more updates when it comes to Polkadot. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a very nice day. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.